What's up, illustrators? Okay, so today I'm going to try to demonstrate how to use the gradient mesh tool in Adobe Illustrator. This is one of the tools that was previously mentioned as being kind of scary. I don't think it's too scary once you know how to do it, and it does contribute to giving you some new options, so I want to show you how to do this. So the first thing about it is you need a shape. So let's just quick make some kind of a shape, and let's fill that shape with a color, and let's shut the stroke off. Okay, so now the next step is grab your object, make sure it's selected, and then you can just go to Object, Create Gradient Mesh, and then this little menu is going to pop up. So if I were to describe what this menu is, what's going to happen is the computer program is going to essentially make a grid, and it's going to wrap this grid around your object, okay? And when you type in these numbers, you're telling it how many intersections are there going to be in these in the grid points, okay? In a y-axis and an x-axis. So in these, so again, it's asking rows, columns. Let's tell it 5 and 5, and then hit OK. And all of a sudden, it's going to pop this grid around our object. Now, it's got some algorithm that's going to that tries to sort of sense out the three-dimensional shaping of your object. Okay, so this may or may not be correct. If it's not correct, you should be able to grab one of these anchor points, and you should be able to actually like move the gradient mesh. Okay, so just like Gwendolyn suggested, once something is made in Illustrator, it's not final. You can grab these pieces and morph it to, or manipulate it to make it look as optimal as you want. Now, gradient mesh is super useful for adjusting infinite tonalities of color. So just like in Photoshop, you could do shading. In Illustrator, you can also do shading, although we haven't done that yet in the last assignments. You can do shading, and you can do it with gradient meshes. So what you can do is you can select each anchor point, and at each anchor point, you can select a color, okay? So imagine you wanted to shade this thing from infinite gradations of red to blue to white. You can select this. You have to have this specific anchor point highlighted, and then you can change their colors. Okay, so now usually I'm not doing like rainbow effects. Usually what I'm doing is I'm using these gradient meshes to define shape or to do highlights. So for instance, in this case, if the light was coming from right on top, it's good to me that then there'd be a white sort of highlight in the middle. But then what I would do is you could make the edges, each of these anchor points, a darker black red. And now that's going to start to mold the shape of the object in sort of like an infinite gradation. And so you can use this tool very easily to quickly form three-dimensional looking shapes. And this is how you do the molding in Illustrator. So it's not a real scary tool. I don't want you guys to be afraid of it. I want you to test it out. It might become super useful for some of your projects. And again, it just depends on your style. But if you like the style of sort of creating more three-dimensionality and fleshing that out, the gradient mesh tool is going to be a great tool for you.